CDC Vaccine Advisory Committee will hold an emergency meeting 1 week from today. It is unclear what they will discuss, but as we previously reported, the FDA is expected to approve Pfizer's shot for kids between the ages of 12 and 15 in the coming days. At the same time, the CDC has been preparing for a public meeting to potentially update its recommendations for those for the 2-dose injections. Dr. Neeta Ogden has been standing by forever. She is an internal medicine specialist and immunologist, and she is joining us to discuss the latest news. We are so grateful that you hung in there with us. Dr. Ogden, there is a lot going on with the Pfizer vaccine right now, on top of the possible expansion to include teens and preteens, I guess. The company also plans to apply for emergency authorization from the FDA for use in children ages 2 to 11 by September. Would you recommend the shot for kids that young?
Oh no, we have a sound issue, I think.
I know.
Oh, 1 second, Doc.
I'm so sorry.
There you go. It's our fault, actually. We'll take the blame for that, for keeping you on hold for, however long we did.
Okay, I was happy to hang around. But yeah, I'm so excited by the news that the vaccine will be used in adolescents and children probably by September, because frankly, as we all know, part of getting out of the pandemic and reducing transmission and variants is vaccinating the country, and that includes children. Although we have historically seen that, it's not as severe in children. They don't transmit it as much. This is still a very vital part of getting back to normalcy, getting kids back in school. Working parents can be alleviated from that stress and burden. So I do think that age group is appropriate, and we need to start looking ahead towards, definitely vaccinating all children and all people in the country to start getting back to normal.
All right, so let's talk about this new form, or the new forms of COVID vaccines that could come in a pill or a patch, or even be combined with the seasonal flu shot. I know that these are in very early stages of development, Dr. Ogden, but first of all, if they're thinking about it for the coronavirus vaccine, why haven't we gotten one for the flu? Because that would have made my life a lot easier too. I wonder, because as we've discussed many times on our broadcast, the flu vaccines change every year, right? Depending on which influenza virus is more prevalent. So is that expected to be the case with the coronavirus? Because we are hearing about these new variants. So would a pill work, or would it have to be manufactured every time in a new form?
Yeah, I think that we're basically entering a new age of vaccines with heightened technology to address all the things that you're talking about. And essentially, yes, the coronavirus, while it doesn't mutate as quickly as the flu, in this current environment where we're seeing such prevalent infection, there are more variants. As we suppress that prevalence, as more people get vaccinated globally, we will start seeing the coronavirus can be more stable than something like the flu, but we have to be aware of the chance that this can happen. It may not be on the same level. So it's so interesting that these possible pills, patches, and sprays, they're not necessarily all new. The flu vaccine does have a nasal spray, flu mist. The polio vaccine did have an oral formulation. So these are things that have actually already existed. And what they're going to speak to is, for example, with the coronavirus, looking at different epitopes, not just the spike protein in terms of inducing immunity. For example, the nasal spray, one of the benefits of that is that it can induce mucosal immunity, which means that it can actually prevent infection, possibly in the nose, in the respiratory tract, preventing people who have taken it from passing it on. One of those big things that's come up in the recent, time of vaccination right now, as well as inducing, immunity as a vaccine does. And certain pills are looking at that as well as shots that might cover all coronavirus variants by basically focusing on some shared part of the coronavirus that is less likely to mutate and that can still induce immunity. So I think this is going to be just really, really groundbreaking in terms of reaching, we're seeing how coronavirus is devastating India and other countries, and how we might get these easier forms to take a vaccine to those places, and in that way, better control the virus.
So by the end of the month, Pfizer says it will seek full approval of its vaccine for Americans ages 16 to 85. A lot of people are going to be wondering, what's the difference? It's operating under sort of emergency approval right now. So how will full approval change things?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the biggest things about full approval is now that they will be able to market and distribute the vaccine, to other private sectors, to basically anybody. And that, I think, can change the landscape of the vaccine as we see it right now. Number one, it might sort of decrease vaccine hesitancy in the sense that now this is something that's been fully approved. In addition, as organizations and businesses and what have you actually get the vaccine directly from Pfizer, they can start mandating who's supposed to get the vaccine. There might be these vaccine requirements that we're actually seeing unfold at universities, mandating that students have the vaccine if they want to return in the fall. So those are the kind of nuances that will change. Also, it means that the vaccine, will continue to be around even after the pandemic slows down and is over. And so these are the types of things that we'll see, sort of unfold as it gets that full approval.
Real quick, Dr. Ogden, before you go, my question then would become, once it does have full approval, what would be the costs associated with this vaccine? In other words, once pharmaceutical companies can now start to market it, will our insurance cover it? Will somebody who's uninsured be able to get the vaccine at a low cost? I'm talking about people in vulnerable communities, for example.
100%. I think that's going to be one area where, the government's going to have to stay involved, because we're not out of the woods yet, and there's going to still have to be equitable vaccine distribution. Just because it enters a more private marketplace, we have to be aware of these kinds of inconsistencies and really, really keep an eye on those communities not lagging behind in terms of vaccinations and access.
All right, Dr. Neeta Ogden, always great to have you. Thanks again for sticking around with all that breaking news. We appreciate it.
Thank you.